Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping the No, I can't stop laughing. Oh, we need a bloopers drawer, don't we? Deep breath. Professionalism. Let's go again. Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. And today your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to join me on a spike hunt. This is a requested video and we're going to take a look at all of my Cymbidiums. They're all outside. They'll be coming in depending on how the weather switches or when it switches, either towards the end of this month or slightly into October. It'll be just down to me watching what's going on outside with the night temperatures. That's all it's down to. I mean, I watch the news every morning. I see the weather forecast every day. So if there's a predicted drop, that'll be time to come in. If it's just 1 or 2 nights and the temperatures go back up again, they can go back out. You know, it doesn't take too much effort. Not that many of them, even though they're big and bulky. Anyway, so that's the idea today. We're going to look at each one. I'm going to fade in and fade out with each one because I only want to bring one at a time in because they take up so much room basically. So we'll just do them one at a time. Hope you like it. Okay, we're starting off with my miniature Cymbidium. This is Cymbidium Showgirl. Haven't had it too long and it's actually a young plant, you know, given the number of pseudobulbs. The old back bulb is still hard. That could be separated and planted up separately, which given the rarity of the real miniature Cymbidiums, we will probably do that one day, not now. And when I got it, it had these 2 bulbs and was in bloom. Yeah, so it managed to flower on those 3 bulbs. So that's a young plant first flowering. We've got a new growth pushing on nicely. It was one of the last Cymbidiums to go out of bloom, to go outside with the others that were already out there. So this blooms spring towards summer, I would say, which gives this new growth plenty of time to develop, you know, swell up, produce a decent pseudobulb and possibly produce a spike. But it's far too young to be thinking about this new growth. I mean, it's far too young to be thinking about blooming. So that's the first one. Right, getting on to the bigger stuff now. This is Cymbidium Tiger Tail, and this was the next to last one to go outside. So this is also relatively a late bloomer. So this one is highly likely to not be spiking yet. It's still producing growths, and it's doing that very nicely. I mean, if you come here, there's 2 new growths here pushing on nicely. Then coming around here, we've got another one here pushing on nicely. One in the middle of the plant here, and another one. Where did we start? Another 1, 2, 3 here. So a lot of new growths. No spikes, as I said. These new growths are pushing on, nice and healthy, complete with inbuilt wildlife. This is going to be the problem when I bring them in, is the wildlife that comes in with them. Yeah. We'll give them a good going over before they come in, but we shall see how it goes. Still haven't worked out exactly where they're going to go, but I'm reasonably confident. So anyway, that's Cymbidium Tiger Tail. If each one of those new growths blooms, that will be a massive show, but that's for well into next year. That's probably not going to be in bloom until at least March, maybe even April. But we've got a good number of new growths, so the potential for a lot of spikes is high. So that's that one. I'm having to get back even farther now. This is a tall one, but it's relatively upright. You know, some of them can get incredibly straggly. You know, the leaves get really long and they're almost too heavy to stand up, so they bend in the middle or arch over. So this is a relatively tall one. This is Cymbidium copper. This one came from the Mathers Foundation on my, I believe, my first visit there, and was really the start of me getting a few more Cymbidiums, if you see what I mean. Because, you know, once upon a time I only had one, which is the one we won't be bringing in because it is quite badly virused. And it's possible that virus has got into the others as well, but we don't know. And I'm just going to run with the other set as they are. But the other one, I'm going to keep it, and it's going to stay outside. And it'll either live through the winter or it won't. When I first got it, it stayed outside and it lived through the winter. It was slightly sheltered. Yeah, got snowed on, rained on, frozen, and it survived. So we'll see what it does. Anyway, this one here, we've got 2 new growths coming, and given that this is an early bloomer, those are probably either going to bloom late and it's going to change its season, or they're not going to bloom until the following year. But round here on this mature bulb, this does seriously look like a spike to me. Pointy, rounded. I was always told they feel slightly hollow, and I always say if you want to know the difference between a spike and a new growth, wait 2 to 3 weeks and you'll know. Rather than keep umming and ahhing and, you know, all the decisions and everything. So anyway, this one's growing, 2 new growths pushing on, and probably a spike. But I can't say definitely. Given that this bulb has produced 2 new growths that haven't been there too long, this could be another new growth on the mature bulb. We shall see. But it's doing okay. It's not dropping leaves or anything. There are a few leaves that are manky. You know, just got a few marks on them. But that's probably nothing more than the wind bashing them around outside. But otherwise, not too bad at all. Not too bad at all. So we may have a spike, but probably a growth. Difficult to say at the moment, and I don't mind waiting, basically. Now, this is the one with the story behind it. The previous one that we looked at, Cymbidium copper, was growing another spike when I got it. And when that spike opened, it was a totally different colour. And I contacted Mathers, Jim, and, you know, sort of, what do you think? And he said no. He said that's 2 entirely separate plants that have managed to get in the same pot. It happens. But I treated it as a bonus because that gave me this, which is a totally different Cymbidium. Unfortunately, it's got no name as a consequence. It's a hybrid, but it's got nice blooms and seems to be a good growing medium for weeds. So we'll have that out while we're here. On that one. And the dead leaves, just have a clean up while we're at it. Right, so what's going on here then? Not a lot, I suspect. This was quite a small plant. Oh, right, okay, he says not a lot. So what we've got here is another one of these that looks exactly the same as the last one we were looking at. So whatever the last one was on Cymbidium copper, new growth or spike, I would suggest this is the same. But this is quite a small plant to have enough reserves for, you know, a massive flower spike. But it's got 2 nice plump bulbs, so, you know, we'll see how it goes. It could be a spike, but we will wait and see. And another biggie. I don't know why I keep saying this. I've got 1 miniature, all the others are biggies. What you would probably just call normal size Cymbidiums, you know. I mean, Mathers categorise them as large, medium and small. I think these come into the medium category, I'm not sure. Anyway, what have we got going on with this one then? Well, obviously new growths. We've got one here and another one immediately behind it. So we've got 2 nice new growths pushing on. Searching. And that's all we've got on this one, is 2 nice new growths pushing on. Now this is Jamie Red.
Again, this was a late bloomer. In fact, the one before that I said that was quite a late bloomer was wrong. It was this one I was thinking of. So that could be a spike. But anyway, no sign of any spikes on this, but two nice new growths. So yeah, I would expect one of them to bloom, if not both. We shall see. But this is going to be a wait and see, because Jim said with the winter to early spring flowering Cymbidiums, the spikes are formed as the nights get colder, which is why they are very, they do a lot better as far as blooming is concerned if they're outside heading into September, October to get those cool nights. It's where the embryo spikes are formed inside the bulbs. But if it's a late bloomer well into the following year, that's probably not true. Something else must trigger those, and it's probably just winter. They register the fact that the days are shorter and it is generally cooler. And it's so it's a similar trigger, but not quite the same, if you see what I mean. But anyway, no sign of spikes on here, just two nice new growths. Well, if the others were medium, this one has to be large. This is a monster. This is by far my biggest. And find the tag in amongst the jungle here. If it's got one. Yes, it has. This is the yellow one, I believe. Yes, Cymbidium hybrid yellow. So this came from Burnham's in flower and did incredibly well. It produced more spikes matured and opened after I'd brought it home. The size of some of these flipping leaves. It is an absolute monster. And certainly early in the year, last time I had a reasonable look at it, it had growths pushing on quite nicely, and quite a few of them. It is a bit of a beast. So what we're looking for now, I would suggest, are definitely spikes. There's one squashed in there, and there's one there. There's one there. These are not going to be growths on this one, not this time of year. Are there any more? So there could be some more buried in the middle there that I can't see. There could be some more to come. Yeah? I mean, if you look at the size of those we've just seen, they are only just starting. So there may well be more to come. But at the moment, I can only see two. But given the number of new growths, these are two new growths, this one and this one. So's this one. So's this one. So's this one. So there could be more spikes to come, but at least we've got some. And now that, because of the style of plant, the nature of this plant, when I got it and when it was in bloom, I can given the size of the new growths and its seasonal habit as a consequence, I can safely say that those are spikes. And if I can, so nearly went A over B there. We could have had another blooper, couldn't we? We don't need bloopers, not when they're actually accidents. Anyway, if those two are spikes, which I can pretty safely say they are, looking at their shape, it's highly likely the others were, or some of them. So I think we have spikes, but this really is a bit of a beast, isn't it? And don't forget, these have got to come back in here at some point. So we've got to find room for that lot. Where's that going to go? It's nearly a metre tall. Well, I know where it's going to go, basically. I've already made up my mind. It's going to go there. And if I have to, I will move this along and I will take that grill off of there. It's only got two plants on, don't forget. The reason it's only got two plants is I wanted a clear shot through to the feeders, because the feeders have just been set up again. Not getting much activity apart from a robin and a couple of, one great tit and two blue tits. That's all I've seen so far. But it's only just been filled up and put back where it's visible. So we shall see. But I wanted a clear view through there. So that's probably where that big one will go. And I might be able to get two on that shelf. And where the others are going to go, I really don't know. What I'm hoping is that this Oh, I don't know. I'll have to think about it. It's not thought through yet. But, yeah, we do have some big stuff to come back in. Right, look at my Cymbidiums, except one, which is the virus one. Actually, I'll take the camera out. We can have a look out at where it is and where it's going to live. Right, it lives there, which means when I water my Shoujo bonsai, there's some water runs off the table. If it rains, it gets some rain on it, and come winter time it will actually go under that table where it will get shelter from frosts coming down and, you know, too much rain sort of thing. But it's blatantly obvious it's virus. I suspect it always was, and the virus kicked off when it was repotted, yeah, when it was in a weakened state. But that's the new growth there that you're looking at, and you can see the patterning on every single leaf. So it's well into the plant, so I can't have that back in with the rest of the collection. I've explained it to Hannah and she agrees, because that's the one I sort of have been looking after for Hannah. But who knows, it might actually survive out here. We'll see. So that's where that one lives at the moment, well away from anything else. And it's going to stay outside. It either survives or it doesn't. Some people look, including me, and just don't see. So busy looking at these two. Well, what's that then? There's another one there. 3. There'll be more, I'm sure. Anyway, a look at the Cymbidiums. I've put the pictures of the blooms up so you can see the range of colours that I've already got. I think the only colour that's actually missing is white. Can you get purple Cymbidiums? I don't know. I know you get pinks and reds, so I don't know whether you actually get purple, but I haven't got a white one. But quite honestly, I don't think I would get any more giant Cymbidiums, but I will always be on the lookout for any miniatures, because proportionally the size of the blooms compared with the size of the plant makes the blooms giants. Yeah? The size of those blooms on that little miniature plant are not that much smaller than the size of the blooms on that. There's not as many. Anyway, requested video. I hope that was enjoyable. Look round my Cymbidiums. They all seem to be doing okay. Well, apart from one obviously, but that has a reason why it's not doing okay. So and all of these were repotted this year, so they can all now stay in their pots until they grow out of them. And some Cymbidiums do physically do that. They actually produce so many roots they lift out of the pot and they end up sort of sticking up like this with all the roots showing. But yeah, in theory, until they actually fill the pots, they stay in the pots now. They're doing okay. They've got new media. They should be fine. I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.